Hello everybody. I'm really excited to be here today recording for you this really cool card. It is called a Triple Easel card, and I know it's hard to kind of see from this angle. Let me see if I can turn it. As you can see, it has 3 different easels on the card there. I'm going to show you how to make that today. And it will fit if you fold it down. It will fit in a standard envelope by Stampin' Up. So this is brand new product from our annual catalog. It is, of course, I closed my catalog right before I hit record to clear some space here, but it is a really pretty suite called Texture Chic. And it includes, if you were to get the actual suite collection, you would get, let's see, the photopolymer stamp set, the Texture Chic specialty designer paper, the new distressed gold paper, which is super pretty. I actually used that on this project. And of course, the matching, I think they're just called Chic dies that coordinate with the stamp set. And that you can find pages 98, 99 in our new annual catalog. So I used a little snippet of some of the new product there. And I think this card was actually like a really fun card to kind of share all the different kind of features. It's a nice seasonal stamp set, so I think, oh, geez, let's see. So this is the stamp set. And you can see it has some leaves, a snowflake, the seashells, flowers, some background pieces, and then just some normal sentiments that, you know, you don't have to worry about whether it's, you know, winter or fall or a specific holiday. It's a thank you. You are amazing beyond measure. You make each season of life even more beautiful, thinking of you and to love you. And with the card, I used the 2 different leaves, so like the outline and the fill, and then I used the 2 flowers. I also used this one right here, and I think, so let's say I used 2 greetings on the card. I used thanks, and then you are amazing beyond treasure. So let me set that aside, and I will post all the directions, or actually all of the measurements within my blog post, but you can see when you stand up each layer, the card will stand as a triple easel. All right, so we're going to start with the measurements of what you need today. All right, let me get my notes out. All right, so you want to start off with a card base, and well, actually you want to start out with your easel layers, and then you're going to build your card base from there. So for the largest easel, you're going to need a piece of cardstock, and I'm just using basic white because it's going to get covered with the front layers anyway. So this measures, let's see, it is 10.5 by 4. And then for your middle or next size layer for your easel, this one is 6 by 3. And then for the smallest easel, you're going to want one that measures 4 by 2. And we're going to score these 3 pieces to get that accordion fold or the easel fold. And then on this one, I'm going to, let's see, I used soft succulent, and this is going to be my bottom layer. And that is going to be like, if you kind of think of the size of a standard card or an A-fold card when it's, you know, all done up. So it's the 5.5 by 4. I might have to trim this one. It looks a little wide to me. Oh no, that's right. 5.5 by 4.25. My apologies. Dealing with so many different layers here, you kind of sometimes get lost. And then my layers for the largest easel. So this is your bottom, and this is my easel layer. So this is my 4 by 5.25, and then my designer series paper. So this is, like I said, from that Texture Chic specialty paper, and it's specialty because there's gold foil all through it, and then on the back side is just a you know, just a regular layer. There's no foil, so it's still double-sided, but you get the gold. I don't know if that really shows because my lighting is not the best. All right, and that one's 3 3/4 by 5, and then that's my top layer. Oh my god, top layer, my largest layer. All right, and then going into like the middle easel, this piece of cardstock is Pool Party, and I apologize, this one is Pool Party as well, Soft Succulent, another Pool Party, and this one is going to be 3 by 3.5, and then my paper, designer series paper that I chose for that one, again, is from the same paper pack. This is the reverse side, and this one does have gold foil in it, but I chose the solid. We can line it up, you know, any way you like. And that paper is 2 3/4 by 3.25, and then for the smallest easel front, you're going to have a 2.5 by 2 cardstock. Again, that's Pool Party. And then the designer series paper, this one is 1 3/4 by 2.25. And then we're going to need some paper for our stamping and cutting out some of the elements. So whatever scraps that you need, you know, you can grab. So I did Whisper White. Oh God, Whisper White. Jeez, I'm batting 1,000 with my talking today. Basic White for my stamping, as well as some Soft Succulent for some of the leaves that I made. And then you're going to need, let's see, on this one, I think this was Flirty Flamingo. And I'm actually going to change it to Whisper White. I saw an image on Pinterest, and they went, instead of doing a colored layer, they did Whisper White. Oh my God, Basic White. Oh, I'll get that right one of these days. It's just such a habit, even though it's been gone for a while. All right, so Basic White. I'm going to use Basic White for this layer on the flower. And then this is that distressed gold paper. I just cut down a piece because I'm going to use a die that will cut out this kind of netting piece here. You're going to need some, you know, like coil thread or some baker's twine, you know, something here. And then let's see, another piece of Whisper White, Basic White. All right. All right, so to get started, we are going to score our white pieces. So let's move these out of the way. And maybe by the end of this recording, I will have said Basic White properly. All right, so I'm going to just use my trimmer, and I will be switching to using my scoreboard at some point. I've been having a problem with my trimmer where my scoring blade just won't stay on anymore. And I don't think they've been available with Stampin' Up! For a while, but it is what it is. All right, so we're gonna start scoring on the long side, and you're just gonna make 2 score marks. And it is 2 5/8 and then 5 1/4. So I'm gonna start with the 5 1/4 because to me that's like, if you're making a card, you know, that's a normal kind of score mark, I guess. Well, it would be 5 1/2, but think about like you're closing this in half. So, and then I'm going to back up to 2 5/8. So if you're not sure about the eighths, it's hard to see, but you would have one and then a small line, a little bit bigger, so it'd be like 16th, 8ths, and you're going to count out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's the line, the largest line before the 3/4 mark on a trimmer. And I scored it in the wrong spot. So let's, you know, start this over. 1, 2, there we go. And that's all right. That score line will get fixed when it all comes together. My apologies. I just got interrupted, so my train of thought kind of disappeared at that moment. It doesn't seem to matter how prepared I am to come do these videos when I tell my family, please don't bother me, don't message me, don't come down into my basement, don't make noise, don't jump. And then somebody always has to come down and start whispering and talking to me off to the side. It's like you had all this time prior to my recording, but you chose this moment. So anyway, I do apologize. Like I said, I will have a link to my blog with the measurements, and you know, hopefully it will all make sense when you see me start putting it together. So for the middle easel, we are going to score at 3 and 1.5. So again, this is 6 by 3, so think of 3 as in half, and then you want to do half of the half, so 1.5. Oh, and see my trimmer pops out. And then the last one is your 4 by 2. And so you're going to score at 2 and 1. So I like to do the half. For me, that's just in case I measured or cut wrong, you know. And there's that. So let's set the trimmer aside. We're going to fold on score lines and then fold back. So I like to fold in half and then take that front one and fold it down. And that's like your little accordion, except this part will lay flat when we assemble the card. All right, so next one, we'll fold this in half. And then in half again. And this one I know I made a boo-boo on, but it will get covered. And as long as you don't fold on that part, it will stay straight and nobody will really notice. All right, so here is our 3 easel pieces, and I'm going to set those aside. Let's do some stamping. All right, so I'm going to put this here and grab some white paper. But a minute ago, there was a whole stack next to me, and here it is. Okay. So I'm going to use the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, so I want to make sure that the paper is not too big to go through. We're only stamping 2 flowers and 2 leaves, so this should be okay to fit. Let's just, yeah, maybe I'll just trim this a tad. I will be honest, I don't use the mini one as often. I'm always, if I have a chance to craft, I'm stationary at my desk, so I just use the regular sized one. So the mini one is great, though I've seen people take it on trips. It fits in a suitcase. It's very lightweight, so it won't, you know, weigh down someone's luggage if they have to check their bags. Like if you're going away and you want to craft a little bit, it is the perfect size. All right, so let's get some blocks out. We're gonna do, let's see, so the outline, no outline. Let's see. All right, so the inside, and then we need 2 leaves. just like that. And then I'll swap around in a minute. All right, so for the flowers I used Petal Pink. That is one of the colors featured within this paper pack. So I'm going to stamp right next to each other. And then for the leaves, I'm going to stamp my outline in Evening Evergreen. And load 2 of these. All right, and then we're going to do the filling part. And I call it the filling because it fills in, and then you just line it up. And the thing that I like about these stamps is you don't have to be 100% perfect. They're not made to completely fill. You know, you'll see some specks of white in the background, which is, you know, pretty cool. So if you kind of miss stamp a little bit, it kind of can look intentional. All right. So I don't think I need to switch anything there. But I will need a block for some of the other stamping, so I'm just going to quickly clean these off and put them away. So I hope you guys have received the new annual catalog by now. They have been mailed out. So if you don't have one or you're in need of a demonstrator, feel free to message me, and I'd like to connect with you and get you one. All right, so now we're going to get the little trimmer out, or cutting boss machine out, and see how cute it just shuts. Shuts down. There you go. All right. So I'm a righty. I like to go this way. I know in some of the videos I've put it this way. I always feel like I struggle a little bit. So I'm going to do it the way I'm used to doing it. And then to cut, you need plate 1, and then you need your acrylic plate 2, and then another 2. And so let's put these on. Get our dies out. So we're going to try to get all the cutting out of the way. And then you're just going to line up. It always takes me a minute with this. Oh, that's not it. Oh my goodness. All right, there's 1. And this one. Now, if you're worried about your dies moving or slipping, you can use a Post-it or some washi tape. Anything removable that is not too strong, because you don't want it to tear your adhesive, the adhesive tear, you know, your stamp or your paper image. All right, so I am just cranking this through. I apologize for my hands sitting there. All right, so we'll do this one more time, and then we'll do the solid pieces. Oh, jeez. I'm sorry, I'm just lining these up, and I realized I was off camera, but I don't want to move. You know, it's real. What you see is what you get. I mean, I'm not a perfect demonstrator. Not a perfect stamper, I should say. Not a demonstrator. I am a demonstrator, but you get the point. I don't like to pretend I don't make mistakes or I'm not perfect. Like, it is what it is. it's just about having fun and getting it done and enjoying it while you do it. And lately my time to craft has not been as often as I would like. I had my oldest graduated from high school. School just literally ended yesterday here in my town, and so it's just getting everybody where they need to be. Hectic life. I'm sure many of you can relate. So I don't want to like sound repetitive, but yeah, so doing a lot of me time sitting and working in my space has been, I guess, kind of non-existent for a little bit, and I'm hoping I've switched a job, which gives me a better schedule. So now I am putting this mesh one, I'm calling it mesh because I don't know what else to call it, onto the cutting pad. And then I'm just gonna run it through. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I mean, I will say this is gonna leave a little bit of bits in it, so we might have to poke some out. And then we'll get to assembly, which is the important part, right? Seeing it all come together. All right. And then last but not least is I did 3 leaves. I did this shape right here. And then I did 2 in this shape. And then we'll speed right through. And then we'll just do one more. And then I learned a really neat trick on a online Stampin' Up event called Creativity Now, and we created some projects led by demonstrators throughout the US, and one of the demonstrators shared a really neat tip, so I'd like to share it with you. Almost makes me go, why didn't I think of this sooner? I don't understand. All right, let me move this out of the way. But I'm somebody who very much likes to put things back where they belong. I feel like everything should have a home. I like things neat and put away. And one of the tips that she had was, if you take this piece of paper that comes within your dies, and you can see there's yellow paper stuck to it because I didn't realize this was open when I put the paper down. But if you turn this upside down and put a piece of paper underneath, like you would remove this, and you run it through your die cut machine, and you're not cutting anything out, but you're just creating an impression. And if you can see on this one, where like the mesh piece was, there's an impression of it. So when you're dealing with dies that have this many little pieces and you're worried about, you know, why won't it fit, or did I lose any, you can tell from the impression where that little die should sit. I just thought that was a really neat trick. I was actually, was one of the things that, you know, oh, light bulb, why didn't I think of that? But yeah, so super cool. I'm just gonna peel this one out, and luckily there's not a lot of bits that we have to pull out of this. And actually it's kind of neat leaving some of them in, and gives that different texture too. But you can see there's like a bunch like left in the die, which I'll just deal with later on. All right, and then I think because I've got the stamps out, let's just finish stamping. So for the inside layer, I added just that thanks on that little wash of color stamp. That one I did in Petal Pink also. And then my greeting was in Soft Succulent. So let's grab Petal Pink again. And once again, a small child came down, and he's not small, he's 13, so he knows better. So I apologize. I don't like losing focus when I'm trying to show you guys something, but it's life, and you know, one day they'll all be gone, moved out, and I'll be like, oh, I wish they'd come interrupt me again. I miss them. All right, and then I just took the thanks in Soft Succulent and stamped it over. And then the last bit of stamping I did, which is optional. I can't say that I was kind of happy with how it came out, but so this is your bottom layer, and this is actually going to sit flat on your card base. And so I added some flowers on here. I didn't like how it was looking by adding multiple layers of it. So, I mean, it's up to you guys. I think I'm just going to do the outline. But I just kind of randomly stamped. Some of it's going to be covered, but that way it just wasn't so white sitting on this paper. And then you're just going to take, and again, I just went around the edges, and I didn't really want to create a pattern. I just wanted to fill the space a little bit. And like I said, it'll be covered, so quickly stamp. All right, so now we're going to start with this part. So I'm going to take my Soft Succulent bottom. I'm going to add adhesive. I hope this is, yeah, I'm centered, right? Okay. I'm going to add the adhesive here. And then you're going to line this up. Just like that. All right. And then this is going to go like that. So now we're going to add this paper layer. Right here. Add the adhesive. Yeah. I always double check. It doesn't matter how many times I've done this. So if you add the adhesive just in this section here, put this flat. Now, do not make the mistake of doing this because your card's not going to stand right. This is going to cover this whole white piece, but you're only worrying about the adhesive at the bottom half. All right. And you just add that on and see when it stands up or folds flat, you know, it's no bigger than a regular card base. All right, so I'm going to set that aside because I want to deal with my stamp stuff. So, and then I just fussy cut out my words here. It doesn't have to be anything fancy or anything like that. I just, again, to give some texture. All right, let's make sure none of these have little bits in them. And I just realized I needed to cut out one more piece really quick. So let me just bring this in. just want to get that white outlined piece for the flower. All right, now we're good. All right, so you're gonna take one of the flowers, and I'm just gonna add my adhesive kind of all over, just a little bit. You can use glue or liquid glue dots, or whatever you're comfortable with. And then once again, we have the fun of lining these up, and it doesn't matter how many times I've made this, I still question where I'm lining it up. I think it goes, okay, just like that. And so then you have that layer on the flower. Okay. And let me bring this back in just so you can see. All right, so what I did was, gosh, the fingers aren't working. Ugh. All right, so I am just going to flip this over, and I'm going to build this flower layer before I attach it to the paper. So, all right, and I just build it by adding adhesive and then figuring out how I want all the different layers to sit. And if you have a way that you like better, you do that. Like, no worries. Sometimes you gotta run just a little bit more. And I just found this was easier, at least for me, when I started putting this stuff together. I found, like, if I took it apart and things moved, then it didn't all line up, the way that I wanted it to. And so now I'm going to take some gold oil there. And I'm going to add. So what I like to do is try to just do a bunch of different loops. So if you get some adhesive showing, just work off of the loops. And try to get them to bend the way the ribbon or the twine, is actually bending. I feel like it cooperates better if you just kind of grab it the way that it goes. And if you need to add something else to hold it down, like do a glue dot. Let's get a glue dot right there. And then as you can see, I'm not really bending it all that much. I'm letting it bend, on its own. And so now I'm going to take a couple dimensionals. That will also help hold it down. And now I have some cats down here doing a little spaz act. And there's just never a dull moment. So I think placement wise, I like that there. Okay. I do have some basic pearls that I'm going to use to decorate my flowers. So I'm going to add the larger one to the one that does not have the border. The next size in this one. And probably some older pearls that when Stampin' Up! Did some repackaging, they might look a little differently. And then I've also had some that I've saved through paper pumpkin kits. So if they look a little different than what you might see in the catalog, that's why. But they're all, you know, they all, at the end, they do the same thing. All right. So there's that. There's our top layer. Now we're going to move into this middle layer, which looks like this. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take our cardstock and designer series paper and stick them together. Ooh. And assemble it the same way. Add the adhesive to this front scored section. I like to fold it in half, and I'm going to line up from the bottom up. Okay. And then the fun part, so this one's super simple to assemble, and I am going to say when I stuck this layer on, which is this second layer, I used a staple and I cut off a bunch. For this one, I think I'm going to have it coming off, but I'm not going to quite get rid of as much just because of the paper was so pretty. And I'm using a stapler to staple it down. And then I'm going to trim around the edges just like this. Oops, don't cut your paper like I did. Like I said, I just did one staple because I like the movement. And I'm going to add, let's see, my dimensionals onto the back of this one. And again, place that right about there. And just to add another element to the card, I did a double bow. So I took the twine and folded in half, snip your edges, and then just tie the bow with the two of them lined up. I mean, sometimes this works out good, and other times they separate and you have to start all over, so come on. All right. And then pull my tails here. Sometimes they cooperate and sometimes they don't. You guys know how to tie bows, right? Okay. Get a glue dot. And just stick this down. All right. To place this onto your card base, you're going to add the adhesive all over the back of your white base. Okay. The only way that I can explain this is when you have your easel stand up, the fold, so this part of your next easel is what's going to hold, you know, this up. So depending on how angled or straight up you would like your easel, depends on where you place this. So I'm just going to push this back and line this up just about here. Okay, so now your back easel will stand up. This one will be a little floppy until we get that next piece in, and this one will go super quick because I didn't decorate this piece. And You certainly can. I just liked the paper with the gold, and I thought it was just cute to just have that solid, oh, paper on the wrong one, piece. All right, so we'll get this on. Add our adhesive to this front section. And again, fold it in half. And then start at the bottom back so that you're making sure you've covered all the white. And then this one, we will just go like that. So now I have the back one up. I need to stand that one up. So I'm going to stick this one just about here. You can see from like the edge of the paper, it's about a ½ inch or so. And so that layer will now stand. To get this layer to stand, we're just going to put a greeting there. And what I'm going to use is a piece of paper. And this one's going to measure, let's see, I think it's 3/4 of an inch by like 3 3/4. So we'll trim that really quick. Like that. And then we have this really great punch called Banner's Pick-a-Punch. And we're going to banner each end here. Just like that. All right. I used to be able to do it with scissors and notch out that end just right. But over the years, I think I've been spoiled with a punch, so now I don't even try. I don't even attempt it. So let's get the greeting. And the greeting that I used is, "You are amazing beyond measure." So, and that one I used the soft succulent ink. I'm just going to center it to this paper. I added a few pearls just to kind of tie it all in together. Just like so. All right. We're going to add a couple dimensionals to the back of this one. We're going to line everything up exactly how you want it. And I will say, don't, push this piece down until you know that your piece here is standing how you want it. So let's get these. Let's get these standing just right. Oh, we want to be difficult. So I'm going to do just about that angle, and then I'm going to add this greeting right there. So now you've got all three standing up on your easel. All right, I think that's a really cute like desktop card or tabletop card for somebody to display. Again, when you fold it down, and just fold each layer flat, and that will fit in a card envelope for you. Thank you so much for stopping by today. Thank you for bearing with me through my fumbling my words to background interruptions. I appreciate it. I will be sharing another video shortly on how to make this a really fun little bag using the same suite. So stay tuned for that video to post as well. Have a great night. Thanks again.